So, pretty interesting situation, huh? JR gets to go, JR gets to go on a trip to Washington, D.C. Leaves his father in the dust. How about that, Let's check it out. J.R. Hendrick, Texan consort, and gentlemen, podcast is the early life of yours truly. In a narrative commentary. A lot of this is from some true commentary that's been depicted fictionally. You have to understand, this story takes place in a completely different multiverse than Earth, but it's Earth of the past. The year, of course, as we know, is the beginning of 1995. And now the beginning of the trailer for the Wheeler Dealer. Well, Daddy, now that I'm back home, I got a public affairs assignment in D.C. Yeah, as soon as you leave D.C. and Springfield, you're going to be sloughing off. I don't see it's any difference to you, Daddy. The Christmas drunk already humiliated this family as enough as it is. Well, you know, it's a family drunk that caused me to come back here anyway. Y'all don't like what I do, I can pack my stuff and move on. Never come back. You know, the contract's going to win. We give your father for credit for helping us get it started, but we won't get a credit for how he wins. Yeah. We're going to put the ball in your court, JR. You're the big influencer now. Okay, so now, if I can get this set right, it's New Year's Day. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's on the front lawn of the Hendrick mansion in Gainesville. Okay, Jim is shining his shoes. He's got this his military grade equipment that he saved from the Air Force, and Betsy, she comes and sits down by his side. You can tell, and she says, "Hey," and she says, "Look, I want to talk, something on my mind for weeks, and don't know how to say it. And Jim, Betsy just shoot me straight. So look, I'm sorry. I withheld your approval 7 months ago when I thought we were just as schoolboys and schoolgirls. And she says, I want us to take a trip to where it all began. And I thought it was in the military area where it all began, but listen to this. It's been only 35 years, you know. Betsy, one of your daddy's film stations. We had at first I had kind of a love-hate thing going on. And she says, well, it's time for that to die. Go back to where it all began. Dad's filling station has been replaced by an oil rig owned by HG Oil. Now, HG Oil is Jim's oil company, but it's owned by Claude now. Okay. And, Jim's thinking, we'll just have Christine take a week off of school. We'll take her to Denver City. And, she said, I don't want nothing coming between us, And so they embrace, and there's this freeze frame, his hair is still as dark as Edward's, but hers has shown some grays over the years. And she says, okay, I'll set up a day and we'll take Christine with us. And she says, ham, mashed potatoes, and black-eyed peas don't make themselves. So I better see to dinner if you want it on time. Okay, so Jim picks up with his cell phone, okay? And he calls, and he's like, what's up, JR? And, he's at the ranch. He's putting this Texas Tech cap on a hat rack at the door of the ranch. He says, now back home, we're taking this trip to Washington, D.C. and everything for this big public affairs business for my advisor. And, Jim's kind of skeptical and angry at him and says, hey, once you leave C in the ranch, you're going to start slipping around again, aren't you? And, JR is still pissed from him from, Jim's triumph and Jim's trial. He says, I don't see us any of your business, Daddy. You getting drunk at Christmas, didn't necessarily help things with this family. Okay, and so 6 o'clock at night, at the ranch, the family dinner was quiet and dignified. It's way New Year's tradition. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, black-eyed peas, green beans, and an option of watermelon or pecan pie. Everyone ate a healthy amount, but Charlie, he only ate a little bit off his plate, not putting much on it. He heads toward the living room. Okay, so what's Charlie doing? Larry's in the dining room, and he takes a vape pen, dumps it in the trash. I'm thinking for all the seed, Charlie's so foolhardy, and he replaces it with another. And Grandma Elizabeth says, Sammy, I almost forgot. Garrison Keener, your advisor, called, and then Catherine said, I know, I called him this afternoon. Told him I would be back tomorrow. It's been a real good time, Amy Catherine said. And Christine's like, well, where'd you go? Sitting on one of the couches. And she said, well, I went with Daddy to the South 9, to the ranch cemetery. I wanted to put in some evergreens at Granddad's grave. And Uncle Tom says, here's your ginger ale, dear. And Elizabeth Marie, bipolar perceptive, are you dying, Charlie? And Charlie says, yes. And Grandma Elizabeth, he's kind of concerned. He's kind of like Charlie. Charlie, do you need something? Sophie, to fix you something, to eat or drink, you hardly eat anything at dinner. And Charlie says, I'm dying, I'm trying to look good for the ladies on campus. And Kyle, gaslighting idiot, says, at least you're not like my stupid brother, who's a pig. And Charlie's like, hey, if you want to have a scrape about this, to see whether your brother's that way, well, can we easily arrange? He's putting up his vape in. And Elizabeth Marie's like that. Elizabeth is mad because, Kyle sort of insulted the house guest. Hey, shut your mouth, Kyle. Well, and JR's pissed. He's like, well, it was a family drunk on Christmas that probably drove me here in the first place. If you don't like how I do things, just let me know. I'll go pack my things and never come back. And Elizabeth Marie's like, hey, girl, don't do that. This is just as much your home as it is his. And she's always going to come to the defense of JR. It's a closeness. And JR's like, hey, I'm deeply concerned. I'm deeply touched by your concern, Marie. I'm only be coming to my very family gatherings, Charlie, for most of the semester, is going to be my family. And, okay, Christine is glaring at Kyle. She said, oh, thanks a lot, Kyle. You stupid dork. Thanks a lot. You're just stirring up the pot. And Kyle stands up, looking like he's chomping at the bit, chopping air with his arms. Oh, yeah? Go ahead. Tell us that JR is his favorite cousin because he's a fanboy. Because this is all one big gentleman's club. People who much of the time sit there and talk about deep crap that doesn't even matter, instead of how to crank a tractor. Okay, so JR is like raging pissed. And, he's trying to run, but Kyle grabs him, Christine poises, Charlie grabs his cane, okay? He's ready to attack, and Uncle Tom stops. He's like, Kyle, get out of here right now. He's like, that's disgraceful. And you and JR, watch that temper of yours. And Charlie, and he tells Charlie, hey, Charlie, I'll meet you upstairs. No, Charlie says, hey, let's go hit some wind, I'll see you upstairs. And so they go upstairs, and Amy Kathleen can tell that JR is very upset. He says, look, I'm sorry, JR. Kyle was always picking on you. Christine is like, hey, learned a few things about Kyle. You know, you just wait silently, and then deck his butt. And Jared knows how I bopped both of them. Okay, so it's 7:50 p.m. Okay, it's night time. And Jared's the driver to send now drives him to the house of Allison Hall. And he goes and knocks on the door. And he's like, hey, can I please see you tonight? I need to talk to someone, Jared says. And, a man's voice could be from the dining room. Allison, who's meeting you at the door? And she said, well, I can't meet with you tonight. You see, Mom, she's getting married. Her boyfriend asked her to marry him, and now they're having the stepfather. Allison, send that young man away. They're packing. So Jared gets back in the car, and they go to a suite at the Hilton that his grandfather set for the family. And this is about 8:10 p.m. This is a drinking moment, okay? Because this is one of those sad, pathetic moments. He don't want to come back to the ranch because, well, Kyle, in being narcissistic and gaslighting, embarrassed him. And, JR is inside, he's crying. I gotta drink some Sprout Zero now. And he's like, okay, this is the last time I mean it. So he drives at the Hilton and checks in. And puts the stuff on the TV. And he sits here, in the living room while Charlie's watching TV in the bedroom. And he calls Jennifer. And Jennifer, she's like, oh, I'm surprised to hear from you. And he said, look, I picked up a little Spice Alive snack before I came to the hotel. I just need someone to talk to. And she said, look, can't you understand my parents don't like you? Look, I'm sorry your father hurt you. But you have to understand, you're going to be the roommates with someone who smokes pots. My parents don't like people, that smoke pot. I can't have you around marijuana. Jared tried to understand, and Jared's crying. Is like, Jennifer, don't do this to me. I've had an awful night. It's like, poor JR, man. Heart goes out to him. JR, absolutely, this is no good. This has to end. I'm sorry. Please try to understand. Jennifer, please. I love you. JR is crying. And she says, good night, JR. And Jennifer said, hanging up the phone. At this point, I'm thinking JR's going to bed. He's like crushed. It's like, this day's over. 2:15 in the morning, okay, Elizabeth? She wakes up with abdominal pain, and so she was just, she reaches for prescription medication, and, for her tonic. She's upset that Kyle caused, such a ruckus last night. She knows that JR did not come home last night. They went to stay in that family suite at the hotel at the Hilton. And she thanked Jim and Betsy for keeping the situation with Kyle, where Kyle's kind of being lord of the house. And that's going to last a while. And yes, in many ways, Jim and Betsy are at fault. Because you know what that means? JR ain't gonna want to come home. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, Betsy is saying goodbye to Blake and Katie Carter because they're flying back to D.C. Okay, so it's 6 a.m. And Elizabeth is in the living room, talking to Amy Kathleen. And she's like, I want you to take a good look around because this place ain't gonna be the same. Because your Uncle Jim and Aunt Betsy are giving the ranch while I'm going to D.C. To Kyle. It's not going to be the same around here. Your dad left this place 25 years ago after your brother Thomas was born, and, he says he doesn't want no part of this ranch. He's made names for himself in Colorado and El Paso. And and of course, 6 years after Thomas is Amy Kathleen, 3 years after Amy Kathleen Hanny, this ranch has to go on. But I'm just concerned with who Betsy and Jim give it to. And then Kathleen's like, well, why not JR? I would want it to be JR. And Elizabeth said, well, when he was a young teenager, he said he wanted it, and he would fight to the death to protect it. But now things are gone, such that he don't want it. He wants to get far away from it as much as possible. She says she don't blame him, go make a name for yourself. And JR had gone off to college once Kyle moved his family in there. He's like, I don't want part of it. So Thomas, he walks in after feeding the bulls and getting them ready for a little rodeo in Amarillo. And Elizabeth talks, and if Thomas wanted, he does have a little boy, but in many ways he's still meandering. She says, I'm just hoping that Jim and Betsy make the right decision. Christine would be good for this ranch. Okay, so it's 11 a.m. and JR just checked out of the hotel when his cell phone rings, and it's from Jennifer Bowers. And JR's like, what's going on? And she says, so we went to Dallas this morning to see my brother and my grandmother. And the journalist named Greg Sanders approached saying that he knows you and that you're about to go to Washington, D.C. for some big deal. And Gerald's like, hey, I gotta stop over in Dallas at 4, and, I'd like for you to have dinner with me someplace, before I have to go back on the plane. And she's like, nah, I don't think so, JR. I am sorry, but it's not for good like this no more. And JR's like, well, I never do anything to hurt you. And she's like, I know that. It's just that I think that maybe we better take a look at our relationship and see where it is really going, because I'm going to London in a couple of months. And JR's like, he's also, Jennifer, please. And she says, no, JR. Now, I came to Dallas to see my brother. Okay? So he goes back to the ranch. And he's sitting, with Kyle gone at the rodeo. JR is sitting in the ranch office. He gets a call, and it's from Bruce Kinghorn, one of his advisors. He says, I've been told by one of your advisors that you're taking off for Washington, D.C. to come on. And Gerald's like, well, yeah, my flight leaves today, and I'm going to drop off Charlie Nation in Dallas, and then he's going to catch a flight to San Antonio, and I'll be up in D.C. tonight. He says, okay, I want you to do an assignment. Fact sheet. Oh, somebody's already got the small business deal. I want you to do welfare. And Gerald's like, nope, hold up. I'm not doing welfare reform because of how my dad stands on it. He says, okay. Then how about tort reform? I want you to do a fact sheet on tort reform. And he said, do what you gotta do. Beg, steal, borrow to do it. And Gerald's like, hey, look, my granddad raised me to be a sir. That means I'm a man of my word. And that means I don't do anything unethically, illegally, or immorally to get what I need. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. And Elizabeth, she's on the front porch at the ranch. When her son, Tom, exits out with her and his luggage. And he puts it in the car to travel to El Paso. And she says, now you be sure to please call me when you get there, son. So Tom kisses, her on the head and says, I will, mother. Take care. So he gets in the car, gets in the driveway, and takes off for El Paso, And Gerald's seeing this. At 3:10 a.m., with planes carrying Hendrick Party, Mike Fields, JR, Charlie, Amy Kathleen, and Jack Robertson, bound for Dallas, where they would pick up Forever and Sarge. Forever. Sarge would be flying into Washington, D.C. early Wednesday morning. And Charlie asked, JR, and the plane takes off, he says, well, Mr. Goody Two Shoes, wheel and deal. What game is it that you are to play? And JR says, only rule of the game is not to play. And Charlie's like, oh, touche, you got my butt. So 6 p.m. he's in Dallas, and, Cousin Frank and Forever, bring some Kentucky Belle. JR's having some combination burritos. Now, Kentucky Belle, in the Grand Theft Auto unit, it's called Cluck and Bell. But I'm thinking, let's make it Kentucky Belle. That way it's both Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell. It's a merger. Only difference is it's a different company than they owns it now, most likely. Who knows? Okay, so it's 7:30 and Gerald's plane just takes off in the air for Dallas, and of course, Amy Kathleen is forever sit closer to JR with Charlie gone. Okay, so now let me make sure I got everything right here. Oh, man. Okay, now that's the 4th. It may be the January 2nd and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd, or, well, that's 1st and 2nd, so we need, there it is. so it's January 3rd. It's 3 a.m., Jim wakes up in the mansion in Gainesville, and he goes downstairs to the kitchen to get some coffee. Over 2.5 hours, him and Betsy gonna be the air and heading back to JR was going to meet some point with the intern that was going to be a part of it. And 6 a.m., JR's having cinnamon rolls for room service and everything. And this guy, Ricky, brings it to him. And JR has an appointment with Congressman Chris Cannon at 8 a.m. This is a congressman from Colorado. Yesterday he had Christine help him pack out the clothes he would wear at D.C., a Fastari suit his father got him for his birthday the year before. Made in Houston. Over Christine's objections, however, JR had picked a red striped tie to go with a blue shirt. And he takes out the King James Bible to do some studying. Okay, so 6:25 a.m. Jim and Betsy and Claude get on the plane. Of course, they're asking about Claude. About Becky. Claude doesn't say anything. Okay, so it's 8 a.m. And, JR, he's walking out of his Cadillac limousine and walks into the Cannon House office building. And through the big marble halls and he goes upstairs the elevator to the 5th floor. And the receptionist, and the office of Congressman Chris Cannon, both his state and Texas tech student ID, and some young female intern in Houston, is on a computer listening to, some techno hip hop stuff, on a Walkman. And suddenly, a 50-year-old, male congressional aide, named Jack Cannon, his nomination, he takes him, he ushers JR into the congressman's office. And when I come into the office, he melts the Bible and the Book of Mormon on the desk, and the congressman said, "Look, your professor and lecturer said that you were coming, and JR said, certainly nice to meet you." And he said, "Look, you're on the crossroads of history." And JR's like, "I don't understand." He said, "The contract is going to succeed. We've given your father credit for getting it started, but we need your help to finish it. We like your father, don't get me wrong, but influence is yours." So JR goes on the house floor, and he's talking to Ken about his history and everything. Okay, so it's 9:30. Jim and Betsy, they got up to the ranch. It's sunny but snowy. He's like, "Christine, hurry up!" And so they hop in and go to. Christine hops in. She's like, "Oh, I don't know why I'm doing this." And so they drive off to Denver City. So it's 12 p.m. Eastern. And it's a restaurant called Tech Flash. And JR goes into the posh restaurant, for Texas Tech students and alumni, and he runs into Dave Smith. And he's ordering Chinese spaghetti with basil and tomato. Now come on, sit down, and I'm buying. And, Dave says, your father in town. Okay, obviously, I don't think Dave is all in tune. JR don't like any inquiries about his father. He's pissed. He's, man, can you possibly see me in town this time of year if my father was in town? He's like, I'm all of a sudden you're just so contentious toward your father. Can't you be happy for him once? And Cheryl's like, hey, can't you read? He got drunk Christmas. That's what's going on. And so the order comes in, and Gerald orders his Chinese spaghetti deal, and Dave Smith decides to get some Dave's deep dish pizza. And Gerald's like, well, Daddy says you talked to my future fiance. And he said, come on, be sure you pop a question, ma'am. Or she's going to slip away, She's going to London for an internship with Goldman Sachs in the summer term of the London School of Economics. And Gerald's like, come on, don't you lecture me about this, Wasn't very long ago when I told you to take your time with my cousin. It just didn't work out. And Dave's like, look, she cares about you. So it's 12 p.m. Central. Betsy and Christine check into a hotel, and JR goes into a special shack to do a press conference. Okay, so it's 3:05 p.m. and so Mike Fields is touring the Senate chamber with JR. It's 6:15 p.m. In the hotel suite, with the Grand Hyatt, JR orders. He orders some fried chicken, some fried potatoes, pickled okra, and some chocolate cheesecake for dinner. Room service. Now, 6 p.m. Chad's Steakhouse in Dallas, a little quiet country place in Fort Worth. And Mike Fields and Jennifer Bowers are having dinner. And he said, I'd give anything if you'll just go ahead and ask him to marry him, and then you can persuade him to ditch this awful Charlie Nation as a roommate. And, Jim's like, she's being coy. I wish circumstances would be different, however, they're not different. My mom wants me to stop me from marrying him. And on my field, he's incredulous. He's like, why? And she said, religious differences. And she's like, she gets all this twang, mocking, Jared's grandmother. Swain Gentleman of Baptist, his grandmother always said, we're assemblies of Christ. And he said, look, he's cranky at his father. He'll do anything to declare his independence. And she said, it's his father's record that my parents don't like. Lowering taxes on precious metals, but raising levies on other commodities. My family owes Bowers Mills. We do the sawmill thing. And, he kind of punished us. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock at night in Denver City. Jim's looking out in the lights and everything. And he turns to Betsy. He walks over to her and stands over and he says, he's like, roses are red, my darling, and violets are blue. Chocolate cake is sweet, and so are you. So it's kind of like, aw, and then I have a little kiss, and it was just real tender. Now, meanwhile, halfway across the nation in D.C., 9:30, JR is back in the hotel suite after, really like Greg Sanders, with a bellhop carrying a ream of papers. This includes legislation that JR was passionate about. Tax cut for small business, Social Security reform, as well as tort reform. Okay, so you see what's going on. Okay, it's the 4th of January, it's 2:30. Alyssa's wakes up, she's got abdominal pain. She's gone through her first chemotherapy session of the year. And today she was glad to be relaxing. Now it's 4 a.m. Eastern. JR is watching the news, having sent in the fact sheets and attachments to Dr. Harmon. He's still reeling with anger towards his father and brother. Yeah, and he loved his mom, okay? He's thinking to himself, Mama didn't have nothing to do with this. I really love my mama, okay? And my grandma. They're caught in the crossfire between a narcissistic brother and, my father was ruthless conniver. So, he treasured some childhood memories, with his, he's with his dad. He was a hero to him, because JR was so sick all the time. But he turned no matter what, or how hard, he tried to please his dad. It's just never good enough. It's just never good enough. And you could just sense. I don't know how it is, maybe you've had parents. I'm just relating to this. You've had parents that are like perfectionists. And you do whatever you can to think to please them because you love them and everything. But in many ways, it's not good enough. It's sad. It's sad. And especially if you add a narcissistic sibling in the mix. Okay, 4:05 a.m. So Elizabeth's up. She's in the den reading a romance novel. One of her hobbies. She sees Thomas go outside the door. He's helping Kyle, helping the ranch veterinarian. Obviously, vaccinating the deer. Okay, 6:20 a.m. JR orders donuts for room service in the hotel. And he sits there watching the news. Of course, the top news story was the Paula Jones lawsuit. And JR loses interest, he just shuts it off. Okay, 8 a.m. Eastern. Now, JR is hobnobbing, okay? It's obvious. He walks into the Longhorse house building and, this, in fact, come in the door, says, hey, go to the basement. And they go to this, this reasonable size, caucus room. And Dick Armey and Todd and Blair are getting ready, for possible, committee assignments and chairs, okay? So it's 8 a.m. Central, Jim pulls right up to the spot where he and Betsy met. And Betsy's all excited, she's like a featherette. And he's like, do you remember what you said when I was filling up your car? and Betsy at this point, she has a cigarette in her mouth. So she takes the cigarette out of her mouth and she says, I said, I don't know whether I should love you or hate you. And Jim said, and I said, destiny should determine the difference. I see, he's being clever and smooth. And Betsy said, look, I was just a 17-year-old schoolgirl. I was seeing someone else. What did I know about love? And Jim, when he gets smooth, he says, like, look, you know, and you still know enough to know to be so pretty and sweet and be a lady. So Christine pops in and says, wait a minute, Mom. Do you mean to tell me you were just in high school when you met Daddy? And Betsy walks over and she's hugging her husband. She says it's true. And 3 years later, when you met me again, your granddad wanted to send me away. But Grandma and I said no. Okay, so now it's noon. Swearing in of Congress, they will for the speaker, and our chairs are in the House gallery, and Jack Roberts is like, over here. And so he sits by there, and, this is a day JR's never going to forget. Sit there as a 104th Congress, the Republicans sit there, and, and he sat there, he's mesmerized, watching the swearing in of these congressmen and the speech by Speaker Gingrich. I'll say it's 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. And JR, and Jim is sitting on the front porch, and he calls JR, just leaving the House chamber. And he's like, are you telling everyone I'm a damn disgrace and dragging my name all over the place? And JR gets sarcastic, okay, this is the bomb. This is not South Mississippi, Daddy. Your reputation is still intact in Congress. And, Jim's like, damn, be sure to watch your tongue with me, boy. Don't forget who gave you this opportunity to come up there. And Jared's like, Daddy, I'm just making moves to impress you. And, Jim's like, he's like, you're moving too fast, boy. Okay, so it's 2:40. And Jared's escorted back into the House chamber. He goes and sits and talks to a Texas woman, from Denton, Angela, Delbert. A Republican who was leading in the Business Families Union, fast growing party, in Texas, and she asked JR for help. Okay, so it's 4 p.m. Eastern. JR steps into a kind of like a swank barbershop, for a shaving haircut. Now, it's the same barbershop John F. Kennedy went before he got my hairdresser. So it's 4 o'clock Central. And with Jim gone to his office, to look at the Dream Team deal on the phone, Betsy is sitting in the living room listening to a wonderful Curtis Lowe tune when Becky comes in. And she says, Betsy's like, is there something real bad, Becky? And she said, it's sad to say, but really it's over. 3.5 years ago, Claude, he promised to marry me, but now he says I'm just holding him back, and this is just not good, and asked me to clear out his condo when I'm flying back to Dallas. And he's just kind of tearful, but yet triumphant. And so Betsy's like, well, what do you do? And she says, well, Dad has a condo in Arlington. I can stay there, and I got a job as a researcher at CBMC. And she said it was fun, being with you and everything. And Betsy says, yeah, well, you'll be in D.C. soon, and we'll probably be seeing each other pretty soon. And so Becky, she just walks out, Pretty much, they figure, well, she's out of there for good. So it's 8 p.m. Central. And Jim is slinking by the fire, okay, because he invited Claude to come over, and Claude refused. Now, January 5th. Okay, so it's 11. No, that's wrong. Oh, that's the wrong year, no wonder. There we go. That's better. Okay, so it's 1:30 a.m. Eastern. JR, he's sitting down in his hotel, his laptop, and, he was heard on the news, apparently the House Banking Committee Chairman Jim Leach was going to hold some hearings and all that good stuff. So it's 1 a.m., Elizabeth, she's like, she's having trouble breathing. So she reaches for her inhaler and prescriptions, and she goes downstairs in the dark to listen to Hank Williams. Okay, so it's 3:35 a.m. JR is at Reagan International Airport. He's checking in early, and it's good because it's a long ordeal. 5:30 a.m., okay, JR's on the plane. He's leaving Reagan International Airport. He's going home. Okay. Now, it's 7:35 a.m. Central. Okay, back at the ranch, Elizabeth she's doing her best, a little help of serving, collecting the eggs, that they're going to take possibly for Betsy to sell and market. Okay, it's 1 p.m. And after arriving at the ranch at 8 this morning, Jared, he had breakfast. He spent probably the morning riding Bandit and spelling a can. They made arrangements to possibly have lunch tomorrow. So Jim's he went off to his office in Hendrick Oil. And they're talking about Blake Carter. Obviously Blake Carter, after New Year's, it's obvious he's pointing drunks, acting stupid. So it's 3 p.m., we're hearing that JR was in his room, Kyle goes down, talks to, Elizabeth and Betsy. 5:20 p.m., so at the family, Claude's there. Claude Gateau's there, he tells them about their girlfriend, Janet, and they're having some cocktails, and except for Christine and JR, who are having, so, here's, Jim's angry. Did you turn me into a fool? And JR's like, no, I just turned into a smart ass with a brain. So the family's sitting down to dinner, fried fish, fried potatoes, coleslaw, green beans, and for dessert, frozen monkey brains, which, it's like a Hendrick family recipe where you take lemonade with flour, and sugar and egg and from a head, and then you split it in half, and then you freeze it, and then you thaw it out and have it. It's like a dang pie. Don't ask me how I come up with that. It just happened. Now, I hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. And this is James Hendrick Empowerment saying, until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It's going to get interesting from here.